Well, this is the class where I start to break that trend and say, I don't need to show you. You all know how to read. You all been here long enough. You get the general gist of what you're doing or where you need to go. If you need to figure something out, you need to figure something out. And there's a way to do that, which is pick it up, read it, go to YouTube, find a video on it. You know, you've got tools at your disposal, so what are you using to make that happen? So the first part of my presentation today is read more, but read more of the right stuff. And to get you going in that direction, when Colleen, Chris, and I sat down, we purposely picked out books and assignments and tasks for each of you that we thought would get you started in the right way. So what I'm going to do right now is start to go around the room and say, okay, here's some of the stuff we're going to give Alex to do. And here's some of the stuff we're going to give Claude to do that's unique to you guys. But before I go into a lot of detail, give me some feedback. How does this sound?
Makes sense.
All right, it does make sense, right? And I mean, but I only want it to make sense if you like money. Like, if you don't like money, it doesn't have to make sense. But I'm going to tell you the secret between being successful and not successful is what you know. And most people don't take time to figure stuff out on their own. One of the things, too, that any employer, any business will rebel against if they ever hear is, I don't know. The phrase, I don't know, is a death blow to continued success. I'll find out implies you have the ability to sit down and figure out how something works, or let me look into that. Any kind of phrase that says, I have the ability to start moving into a solution orientation is positive. That's what businesses want. And people who know that I can look it up, I can find it, I can read, I can go to some frequently asked question sections on the internet, those are people who find success in what they do. So I'm glad it sounds interesting, but one of the things I really want to encourage you guys to think about is I want you to consider how it can sound critical to what your success looks like. Another big part of this is when you start to figure out that you know the answers, it gives you the ability to be confident. And I hope this is not inappropriate to say first thing on a Monday morning, but my sense is one of the things that might be different between, let's say, me up here and you guys over there is confidence. I don't necessarily know that I know more than you, I know different things than you, but I do have this sense that I'm sometimes maybe confident in what I know. I know what I know to the full perimeter of my knowledge. Like, I'm confident in the things I know. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Do you guys ever feel like you just don't have the confidence to do what you need to do?
Yeah.
And that there's I think I know the answer, but I'm not quite sure to speak up.
Right.
Yeah.
Confidence comes with, like you said, reading the book. If you know what you're talking about, it gives you the confidence to, like say, get up there and do what you're doing, speaking now.
Yeah, and it's the confidence to know it because you've read it, and it's also the confidence to state it in a way that's, excuse me, as the hair continues to fall out of my head into my mouth. Sorry about that. But it's to say it in a way that you don't have, like, I'll joke around and I'll appear as a know-it-all because that's also my persona. Like, you know, I've adopted that as a persona. But in all honesty, in my professional consulting practice, I don't want to say I'm humble. I'm confident. I feel sure that whatever I'm saying, this is my opinion because. Like, I use the word because a lot. Because I've read this, because I learned it, because I've done this before, because I think is an awesome word. And if you've done something because you've read it, done it, experienced it, or were taught it, that has impacted people. And think about the whole interview process. You've all been through TNS1. I don't know if any of you have been through TNS2 yet. But the whole point of a qualification statement on your resume is to say, here's something I'm good at. But if you just say, here's something I'm good at, that's called a boast. Here's something I'm good at as demonstrated by, I won the Employee of the Month award 4 times in a row. Here's something I'm good at as demonstrated by my ability to grow sales by 20% over 3 years. Essentially what you're doing is you're adding the word because to the statement. What allows you to have because in your life is reading, note-taking, experience, and again, and it has to do with this other concept called purpose that I started with. Do you guys maintain journals or notebooks? I know a lot of you do for class, right?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay. It's the goofiest thing, but I carry, and I have now probably about 10 of these filled. Like Colleen will know, I carry this thing with me most times, but every day, it's kind of like what I would call my professional diary. Right? And mine's goofy. Of course, I've already torn the snot out of it, but it's, every day I'll just like jot a little note, something I need to do, and I'm not I'm not religious with it, but it's something motivates me where I'm like, this is important. It's either an important thing I have to do or an important thing I learned or an important connection I made. I put the date and I jot it in my little journal. Kind of like a work diary, professional purpose diary. Go ahead.
I would like to make a comment about the environment. My environment has a lot to do with my confidence and how I feel where I'm at. If I'm comfortable, things will flow. But if I'm not comfortable in an environment, I kind of get stagnant and scared.
And I get that. And there are a lot of environments that you can't control and I can't control. And I think the other part of confidence comes from the realization you only control the things you can. And the biggest thing you can control is the environment of you or the environment of me. So on Friday, I did a presentation before the kind of celebration day here. I was over at the Doubletree Hotel on the other side of town. And it was in front of a group I've never spoken to before. So it was the National Geriatric Care Managers Association. It was just a different group. Didn't really know anybody there. They weren't used to my style of presentation, which can get a little goofy. And they weren't used to the message I wanted to talk about. And before the meeting, man, I had the butterflies. And I talk for a living. Like I get in front of groups and I talk. But I felt nervous. And my nervousness was, will this work? Will it generate more business for me? Will I flop? Like, will I lose their attention at some point? And then I started recognizing the things I was worried about were things I couldn't control. And honest to God, Cheryl, this is the thought process I went through. I ultimately had to remind myself that I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That in that moment, I can't impact how they absorb my message. I can't impact how the room responds. I can't impact how the moderator will ask me questions. I ultimately had to feel confident of, I'm talking about something that I actually know a fair amount about. And if for no other reason, I'll know I'll be good because I know what I'm saying. And
But let me ask, would that have an effect on your notes and your information that you're trying to portray?
I don't think so. And, sometimes I write stuff down in a little journal, and you can pick up a composition book for 69 cents at any store, like the ones with the black and white covers that look like cows. Right? That's what Seth has. I think Seth uses that kind of a composition notebook. But one of the things that I jot down is like some of the notes are, Cheryl, quite goofy. Like here on 3-5, for whatever reason, I just wrote the words Gretchen prep. Because I have a client, her name is Gretchen, and I did prep work for her. And I don't know why that was important for me to write on that day, but I wrote it on that day. And then I took a few other notes of some things that I needed to do scheduling-wise around her. But that's not all I did on March 5th. But that's what I wrote on that day.
Do you remember her or her situation?
Because it'll just call me back. I needed to focus my mind on it. Go ahead.
That's what Cheryl asked the question. It made me think back to what you said about confidence in what you do now.
Yeah.
Confidence, because like in my math class, I hated math, because I felt absolutely stupid in math. But as I went through the math class and started learning some things, I got more confident in what I didn't know.
Yeah.
Not worried about what I didn't know. Got confident in what I knew, and it kind of opened me up to what else I didn't know. So it helped.
And it does help, but I got to tell you, because this is what we see, and I've seen this now. Go ahead, question.
No, go ahead. Finish your
I've seen this now with a bunch of students that have finished the program. So you guys are at about the 2/3 mark, roughly. 2/3 of the way through, 60% plus or minus from the whole program. But what I've seen when people finish the program before we started to take this change, is people will finish the program and they feel good that look what I've learned, I have these certificates, I did well in class, I have an A. But then all of a sudden they're going to be in the brave new world of trying to apply that into the labor market. And then all of a sudden, and I can point to other people that I'm working with that I had to have come to Jesus meetings with all the time, that all of a sudden, and I say this with respect, start to sabotage themselves. They start to say, well, I can't because, or it isn't working, or they're applying for jobs. There's one woman that I'm working with, one of your kind of co-participants in the program, who literally has applied for probably 300 jobs and hasn't received any calls. And so her confidence is shot. But you want to know why? She's applying for the wrong jobs. It's an act of self-sabotage because she doesn't feel confident. And so when you start digging away and pulling out why this is happening, it's I'm afraid this won't work. So I'm going to do something that I know won't yield me a result. You know what I mean?
Okay, you said something that the confidence. Like when I first came here, I didn't have confidence because I been away from school for 20 years, and then as I got in school and I started getting good grades, I became confident. But here's where I lack confidence at. I'm afraid when I do go out I won't use the vocabulary. Like I learned it and I passed it in class, but because, and I'm going to say it, my surroundings where I live at or family does not use that vocabulary, I don't use it every day. So I lack confidence in my vocabulary.
Well, you know, and a part of that is the more you read, the more it improves your vocabulary. It gives you access to words. But I agree. And, you know, and part of that is the first third of our program, if you guys didn't realize this, is meant to be embracing. Because we recognize a lot of people have come from a situation where you're all trying to learn something that you haven't learned before, or you've tried and it hasn't worked. So the first part of the program is we try to make it as much of a warm hug as possible. Come here, it's going to be okay, we can do this. The second part of the program is when people, kind of the middle third, is when people start chugging along. All of a sudden they feel like they can do it. You're all in the groove, you understand the kind of the rules and parameters of the program, and you start clicking through material and you start building skills and knowledge. And that's awesome. And what we used to do is let people feel really good about themselves, and then it was hard for them to break the gravity of the planet called the academy because it just became too much of a comfortable place. Mm-hmm. So what my job is starting to be is I want to start kicking you folks out. Like, this is not your home. Get the hell out. Like, I wanted to have the same conversation my dad with me the day I graduated from school.
I'm running. You don't have to kick me.
This is an honest-to-God story. I remember, I was graduating Rutgers. It was 1988 in May. I had my little gown and my hat on, and I'm walking down the aisle. And, you know, after I have my diploma in my hand, I'm all excited. I just finished. I have a college degree. My Nana, my little Italian Nana was there, little Sadie. And I give Nana, I always used to pick Nana up. I would give Nana a big kiss, my mom and dad, and my brother and sister. I'm so excited. My dad looks at me, hands firmly on my shoulders, and he goes, "We are so proud of you. Starting tomorrow, your rent at home is $500 a month."
Oh.
I'm like, what the hell? Honest to God. Your rent tomorrow is $500 a month. He goes, but that'll include food and laundry. But he said that to me. Those were the first words he said.
Did you have a job?
If you knew my dad, you would appreciate how awesome it was. I had 2 offers. I had a job offer for a job in New Jersey, kind of where I grew up, and I had a job offer in Pittsburgh. And what my dad was forcing me to do was make a decision. If I stayed at home, I'm going to have to pay. Or should I be moving out and taking that job, or should I take the offer in Pittsburgh? I ultimately took the offer in Pittsburgh. It was cheaper for me than living at home because I was able to get a roommate.
That's what he was hoping.
But again, that was he started preparing me, and I knew from a young kid, because he would say, like when I was in high school, because the day you finish school is the day you start paying rent. And then again, literally the moment I finished school is the moment he hit me up with, and let me tell you what your rent is. And that's part of my job today, is to say, hey, we're going to start to focus on what happens next. And where I see people, I'll be with you in a second, Clive, where I see people fall down in the job search and interview process is a lack of confidence and a lack of seriousness that it's going to be hard. I want to also be very realistic with all of you guys, and this is going to come out. I hope this doesn't hurt anybody, but oftentimes I don't want to glorify or deify what a job can mean. You know, there are times when we talk about getting a job as being the most exciting thing in the world, but for a lot of you guys, it might be a job in a different position than you were because of illness or injury, and it may not be a job that's at the top scale of that employment kind of pyramid that you're going for. So it might be an awesome job, but it might be a job making $11 an hour, $12 an hour, $9 an hour, $14 an hour, somewhere in there. And I don't want to take away from the fact that it's work. And work fundamentally, while it's rewarding and allows you to have all the things you want, is not the same as sipping a Heineken on the beach. You know what I mean? Let's not, so when we talk about work as, isn't it the awesome end result of all this effort? I think the awesome end result of all this effort is sipping a Heineken on a beach at night. Maybe, you know what I mean? It's vacation is the good stuff. Retirement is the good stuff. Sure. Work is the means to an end. So the other thing I also want to start to sell you guys on is it's hard. It's going to be different, it's going to be grueling, and you're going to have to really dig in and want it more than you've ever wanted anything, and it's going to be fundamentally uncomfortable. And I'm not saying this so much as to scare you, I'm saying this to prepare you. Nobody else out there is preparing themselves with purposeful reading and preparation. Nobody. Nobody does this. I'm telling you, people don't read an hour a day. People don't read the newspaper. People, you talk to people all the time, and how many people say, you know something that was so awesome, I just read an article on that. Or, you know, I just read a book that said. So few people do this. I mean, Petita, you've had some other experiences. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah.
I'm right and wrong?
Most of the time.
Well, in this instance.
Before, let's ask your wife.
In this instance.
No, you're right.
So I want to really drive that point home, okay? And also let you know why I'm making this point and why the class is going to get a little weird from this point on, but hopefully in a positive way.
Okay.
So I'm going to go around and we're going to talk to everybody and I'm going to say, okay, here's the assignment. And then we'll have Colleen and Chris come in and we'll start to tell you how we need to track all this stuff. So let me get my old glasses out.
Were you all reading different books?
Yep. A lot of people are reading different books and then we're going to have to present on the books. And we're going to have dialogues on the
Are
books.
these books about business or?
Now, a lot of books, I got a lot of books on customer service because a lot of you guys wanted to do customer service. Claude
Okay.
has some stuff that's different. Petita has some stuff that's different. A
Okay.
couple of you guys have some stuff that's kind of like way different because your goals are different. And that's okay too.
Okay.
So these pages here all say the same thing.
No, they're different for everybody.
Book selling 101?
Well, that's only what yours says.
Oh, I'm not selling.
Well, I'll explain it all in a couple seconds.
Nordstrom's class.
So, Alex,
Here's the question I want to ask that I want everybody to hear.
what's that?
Remember when you said
Hold on, everybody. Go ahead, Claude.
the girl was applying for the wrong kind of jobs?
Yes.
What you can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I can. She was applying for jobs. This former student, was applying for jobs that had more experience. They required more experience than she was able to offer. So, you're going to be applying for help desk, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, help desk, right?
Oh yeah. That's a term.
But let's say, Claude, instead of help desk, you started applying for jobs that were network security, which is a level or two beyond where help desk is. How many callbacks do you think you would get?
If I applied for it
Yeah,
under that resume,
yeah,
no.
that's right. That's what this person was doing.
Uh-huh.
They were busy, but they weren't productive. And that's the other thing that I'm also very mindful of, the difference between busyness and productivity. Anybody want to take a stab on what the difference is?
Between what?
Being busy and being productive.
Not really getting anything done.
Productive
Yeah.
when you see money.
Productive maybe
Yeah, you could be
Yeah.
busy and not be
you're having something come from your
Yes.
busyness.
Oh.
Being productive would be searching for a job in your field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Productivity has an outcome. Productivity has an outcome. Busyness doesn't.
Right.
You know, there are many, and it's one of the things we, like, again, my practice when I'm not here, my consulting practice, and Colleen knows this, is I do everything by the hour. I bill by the hour. I have to be working on client materials in order to make money. That's how my life works when I'm not here. And so I could be in the office being very busy, organizing files, researching materials, making phone calls, doing all kinds of stuff, and I can spend an entire day literally busy, making stuff happen. But if you ask me how many hours did you bill today, if I say 0, it was not a very productive day.
So busyness is almost like a form of, it can be a form of preparation. That's something that you don't get paid for. That's preparing to go to work.
I think so too, but even education can be productive because you know more. The difference is purpose and outcome. What's the outcome? And if you don't know what you're measuring, Claude, you don't know if you're ever going to achieve it. What I'm trying to do and what the Academy ultimately tries to do for everybody is teach people how to see the outcomes they want to attain and move purposely towards that outcome. What we try to avoid is busy work. You know, and there are elements in all of our days. I mean, there are times when I'm in the office and, you know, and I'll write a report, and that report is to be printed in triplicate. I have to make copies of the invoice. I have to do letters and envelopes, enter it into systems, accounting system. So I might spend a couple hours writing what I think is a pretty awesome report. That's productive. It's billable. It's real product. It's something that I can put a stamp on and mail it out. That's real. But then I need a couple hours of busyness to just close the file.
Because busyness is necessary.
Busyness is necessary, but what I focus on is productivity. There's a certain amount of pedaling in place that we all have to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, at some point I do have to run the dishwasher if I want to clean plate. But really, it's cooking the meal that makes the function work, right? I mean, that's the real thing. Go ahead.
I was thinking about, this is kind of a little bit off, but I was thinking about, like, when you were talking about getting us out of here, I had already been thinking about when internship or externship comes up, that I've already started thinking about what I'd like to be doing and looking into places that have externship or internship programs. So that when that time comes up here, that I could, or have already set the stage up to apply for externships in other places.
And I think that's good. And I also want to keep you guys in mind of, or alert to, I'm glad you're thinking about it, and you need to. And if you have an idea of someplace you'd like to be connected to because you might have a connection or a relationship, bring it to Janet and Emily. You know, the reason we have mock interview days and we bring these businesses in, and even like the celebration day this past Friday, if any of you were able to attend that, the reason we do things like that is that's when we bring our business partners in. So like when we, like, you know why Janet and Emily spend so much of their time talking to people in the business community? Because they're the ones who have the jobs. Like, you know, they're, like if you want to get hired, they're the ones with the money. And I always say, go to people with money, because they have it and we want it. So if you're going to create the, and that's why they do it, but if you have connections already, I forget who I was talking to the other day, and somebody's like, oh, Demetrius. He's like, I have a line on an internship, but I don't know how to set it up. Like, give it to Emily. Give it to Janet. Let them, like, say, let them make the call with you, and they'll invite the person in, they'll give them a tour. Everybody has a slice of pizza, and we'll go see their office, and let Janet and Emily work those angles for you guys. So that's a great thing. Cheryl.
What I understand also, you must set up situations to produce, and mostly that's sales, like cold canvas calling. That's a very nervous thing because you really don't know who you're talking to on the other end. So you really have to be professional and really keep a focus on what you're talking about, because that is frightening.
It is, and okay, you used the word sales. By the way, I think the phrase sales, the word salesman, has been maligned. Anybody know what the word maligned means? Show of hands. Anybody want to share something? What is it?
Underrated,
It has been damaged. It has been injured. I think the word sales has been injured. I think everything in life is sales. You know what I'm doing up here right now to you guys?
selling it.
I'm selling you.
So you like it.
I think sales is the most noble profession, but everybody, when I say sales, you know what everybody thinks of? Used car salesman, right?
Yeah.
You're not thinking of that? What are you thinking of?
Insurance.
Telemarketers.
Insurance.
Just so you know, telemarketers,
Who?
in the scheme of, if I were to think of, is that a true salesman? No, you know what a telemarket is? They're coerced. That's coercion. They're going to call you up at 8 o'clock at night when you're sitting down trying to watch a, baseball game, or Sunday, Sunday in the middle of the afternoon, and they're going to interrupt you and then try to pitch you something that you haven't asked to be pitched. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I need you to buy this for me because I'm calling you, and I'm like, I didn't ask. That's not sales. That's coercion.
But then you still work with quota. And everybody has a quota.
No, it's damage to sales.
But you, just so you know, but Charlie, I want to tell you, everybody has a quota anyhow.
Okay.
You know, and again, maybe the quota is not like, you have to sell so many air conditioning units, which is an obvious quota. Everybody works on a quota, and that quota is called productivity. Like at some level, everybody has to produce. But we just talked about busy versus productive. Production is a part of every job. I don't care if you're customer service, where they're going to count the number of inbound calls you have, or if you're retail sales and they're going to look at the number of value-added add-ups you've done, or if you're doing help desk and they're going to look at how many minutes per resolution that they're tracking at. Everybody gets measured for everything. Measurement or quota isn't a bad thing. That's a reality. I mean, I just think it is. Colleen.
Even administrative assistants, when they are, which we're calling their company, their way that they are presenting themselves on the phone or to people coming in is a sense of salesmanship, is it not?
It is. Sales is the art, and let me give you what I think is a good definition of sales. Sales is the art of matching need with solution. Like in the field of disability, we're familiar with the concept called information and referral. Right? We have a wall of information and referral resources. If somebody needs something, we try to pair them with somebody who might be able to help them connect to it. Somebody came to me the other day and said, I have a student loan, but I'm on Social Security disability or supplemental security income. I heard that Obamacare will let my student loan evaporate for free. Does anybody here have a student loan?
Yeah. Will it?
Do you still owe money on it?
Yes.
Is anybody here on Social Security?
Yes.
Talk to Wilma.
Okay.
Wilma Mack will show you how under Obamacare to make that loan go away.
Whoa.
All right?
Wilma.
Now, do you know what I just did with you guys?
Oh, wow.
You
I
saw
acted
what
as a
I did.
salesman.
You sure did.
I found need and I paired it with solution.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
That's
Was
great.
That's a
I a
good
telemarketer giving you something you didn't want? No, you're like, I have a need, and you're now going to help me connect that need to an outcome. We'll go in the back and then come up.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Do they have grants out here for children that want to go to college, parents with disabilities?
There are actually a couple grants, but if your kid wants to go to school part-time to start, you know, almost everybody could take 1 or 2 courses at Philadelphia Community College for free under what's called a Pell or FIA grant. Okay? Now, if you want more than just 1 or 2 courses, it gets a little dicey, but you can take 1 or 2 courses almost for free, if not totally. And I'm not talking about a student loan free. I'm talking about free. Okay, because it will come through Pell or FIA grants. Great question. And if you need more, we can connect you to resources to do this. And this ultimately becomes a sales thing. There's a word that I like to use called consultative sales. Consultative sales would be you and I, and I'm sorry, I'm horrible with first names again. Cornelius and I would be having the conversation where I'm finding out more about what his needs are, what the family income is, how old his kid is. As he and I go back and forth and I start to get information, he shares information, I start to understand need, he shares need. We start to say, well, geez, I wonder what programs would be available. You know something, let me kind of connect you to these couple people here. You know what we just engaged in? A sales process. And you tell me a sales process isn't a part of every single job in America, and I'll call you a liar. Because it is. If you're selling yourself for a job interview, every job starts with a sales process. You're the product. Every job you're going to be interacting with a supervisor or subordinates or customers, that's a sales process. Every job has sales as its fundamental. But so often we think of sales as this coercive, negative, inappropriate thing instead of this consultative, tell me what you're looking for, let me tell you what I know, confidence. We'll figure out if there's a solution, and if there is, let's go find it together and see if we can make it happen. I love being a salesman. Because I love solving problems. I mean, I don't want to say I like problems, but problems are a part of the human condition. And then if you've never met another guy who's had more of them, I carry bags of problems around with me. You know, my own life is a case study on what problems can look like. And again, I know some of you. Your lives look that way too. But you know, the beauty is you sit down, you talk one-on-one, you start to figure out, okay, where are you? Where am I? What can we do? How can we buy this together? I'll tell you what, there are probably 6 people in this room I helped get eyeglasses for. Because we had a conversation about what's going on, can you see this clearly, you know what I mean? And that's a problem. Sometimes I can solve those problems. Right? Is that sales? But you're asking us. So a lot of you are going to get books on sales and marketing and presenting something and having dialogues. And Cheryl, don't look like you just ate a lemon. I mean, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world.
You just smashed the lemon in my face.
I did.
Yeah,
And it's important. Because at some point you're going to be interacting with somebody trying to get a job.
Yeah, but I mean, I resent that in a sense because I've made people a lot of money, and I have not gotten nearly as much as I made anyone else.
Okay, well you know what that conversation is? You know what that conversation? That's a conversation on negotiation, which we're going to also have. That's awesome. Somebody write this down. We need to talk about negotiation. Honest to God,
Stop messing
Cheryl,
with me, Mike. No.
you need to learn how to negotiate. If you made somebody a lot of money, you can get any?
Man.
I need to teach you some stuff. Go
No,
ahead.
they tricks.
Before we go too far about the student loan thing, does that work with current? I'm currently taking an online course. It started in January.
I think it's only student loans in default, or people that have student loans on deferment.
That's me.
What's the difference? Did you say default or what?
Deferment.
What's the difference?
Default is if you've stopped paying and they started to get send you the angry letters.
Yeah, in the phone
That would
calls.
be default.
Okay.
Deferment is if you planned with them to say, hey, listen, because of whatever's going on in my life, I need to defer the repayment.
Oh, okay.
Deferment is you're not in default; they're giving you some time. Default is like, haha, I'm not going to get them. They can make that go away so it doesn't sting you anymore.
Okay.
Wilma, I don't know how well you guys know Wilma, but
I know
Wilma's
her, yeah.
She reads and figures out. I mean, she is just an awesome, awesome resource.
Okay.
Go to Wilma.
I will. Thank you.
and I hope that answers your question. If you're current,
does.
because you're not paying the student loan if you're in school right now.
Right.
So you're neither in default or in deferment.
Right,
You're just accumulating.
right.
Yeah, so at the end, stop paying your bill. No, I'm just kidding.
But that will be considered taxable income and you will have to pay taxes.
Yeah,
What?
there are some caveats.
Yep. They'll consider that that's earned income and you will have to pay taxes.
I don't understand when you say
Every
taxes.
question.
Well, hold on. Let me address this. Now, Petita raises a good point on taxes, and Petita and I had a conversation the other day about this.
I'm waiting for it.
You're always going to look at the tax. Petita always looks at the tax implications. I love this guy. How much do you owe? Just out of curiosity, I understand.
8,000.
No, I'm sorry.
Me,
Yeah.
Oh. I
well,
already
the
got some
last
taxes.
time I checked,
Yeah.
it was 5,000. I know it was more.
Okay.
I know it's more.
So, and again, that having that outstanding liability is preventing you from moving forward in some areas because that's always going to show up on the credit report.
Yes.
There might be a cost to get rid of that because again, like Petita said, there's a small consequence to that. But if you knew you can get rid of that for $600 essentially in real costs spread out over time, and if I said I will take away $5,000, but it's going to cost you over time like $600 or $700.
Oh, I'll take the 600.
You're damn right.
But when you say taxes,
It's
like
about
how would they
6%,
get
right?
it from taxes?
It's
I don't
about
understand.
6%, right?
It's a little bit more of it, depending on where you are, earned income tax credits and some other stuff. This is where it starts to get a little complicated, but not too complicated. I don't want to scare anybody away with tax stuff.
But see, that's what I don't understand. I'm like, when you say taxes, would they
Thanks,
ask
Bettina.
me a lump sum for it?
But no, they're not going to ask for a lump sum.
So how would they get it out of me with taxes? I mean, when I file my income tax?
When you file your income tax, it'll show up. It'll show up as it'll show up as an asset or earned income,
And they'll take some from
and
it.
they'll
Oh,
and
okay.
you might owe a liability when you then file the following April.
Okay.
But by that point, presumably, because remember, you've ever heard that expression, a rising tide lifts all boats? You know what solves the problems of life? Taxes are inevitable for everybody. And Petita's absolutely right. They can get complicated.
Thank you.
Luckily, one of our students left and went to H&R Block, and she can help you out with it. With
Yeah.
Sue Mellon, right?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
But the other part about this is earning money will make things better. Like, I don't ever want to see earning money as making things work. The rising tide of having additional discretionary income will make things better. And sometimes there are problems that need to be cleaned up that we're going to have to deal with. So the tide is going to have a wave or two, or a bump or two in it. But that's okay. And that's also why I didn't want to paint the picture of once you get a job, life is rosy. Once you get a job, we might need to clean some stuff up, and it still might get a little messy, and there still might be some things we have to noodle around with. But it's a means to an end, the ultimate
Okay.
outcome we're looking for. And again, at some point, you're going to want a car, you're going to want to do something, you're going to want a credit card, and you're going to want to, if you have some of the liability, to get some of that stuff cleaned up. Some of the liability, maybe we can't help you clean up, but I know that part we can.
Okay.
So I don't want to take away from that sales conversation, but I also want to honor what you said.
Thank you.
A lot of you guys, and I say this with respect, are horrible negotiators. Like,
Well, I didn't have the option of negotiate that, Mike.
well,
I mean,
no, I don't buy that.
Okay,
You always have the option.
you can go to the boss. I could have went to my boss and said, well, look, I sold you $250,000 worth of insurance. Okay, and I come up with a price, and this is beyond your salary. Okay, they say no. Now, what is there? How can you pull that money out of their pockets?
You don't. Well, part of this is too. You don't negotiate after the fact.
What do you mean?
You can't do something wonderful and just because at that point you're looking for them to reward you for something you did. And I mean, I'll give you another example. This is as timely as today. My brother just left the military after 20 years. Right, so for 20 years he's been in the Navy, and he was a great Navy guy. And then, when you're in the military, if any of you guys are vets, you also know that the military guides you along. He always had a job. You don't get fired from the military unless you do something really bad. and
Yeah.
really big. Like Nick didn't have to worry about a job for 20 years. All of a sudden, here he is, 42 years old, 43 years old, because he went in right after school and retired. And so now he's got to get what I call a real job, a job in the civilian marketplace. And he had a horrible time negotiating. So he was out, he was interviewing, and he's a smart guy. He's got a good education and a good background. But he didn't know how to negotiate. So he's like, so he found a company in Chicago that liked him and he liked them. God's honest truth. And I spent most of last week and a big part of this weekend working with him trying to work out the deal. Because I'm like, Nick, as soon as you sign the paper and accept the job, you can't negotiate anymore. Your ability to negotiate stops at the time you make the deal. It's hard to impact the deal once you make it. Hey, I really like that car. I think I'm going to buy it. Nah, it's perfect. Yep, let me write you a check. And by the way, can you throw in airbags? Can you throw in new mats? Can you make sure it gets detailed? Can I get 6 months of free oil change? They're like, no, you just bought it. Your leverage evaporates. So one of the things I was looking, Nick is in his mid-40s. He's got 4 kids. Normally when you get a brand new job, they start you out with a week's vacation and then 2 weeks after a year. But his kids are homeschooled. His family, he's moving to Valparaiso, Indiana. His family's all scattered throughout the United States. He's like, I need to negotiate. I'd like to get 3 weeks vacation. And I'm like, well, Nick, you know when the time to negotiate for that is? Now. You don't negotiate for it after you start working and say, I'd like an extra week. Before you take the job, say, I'd really like to do this, but you wanted a bump in salary. When do you negotiate for the salary bump? Before the job or after the job?
Before.
That's right. You negotiate before. We should have to teach Colleen some stuff on negotiating.
Yeah, that's
Is she as horrible as you?
No, it's not horrible. You know what it comes from? It comes from a feeling of confidence. So here's my brother. He's got an engineering degree from the Naval Academy. He's got a master's of business administration. He retired from the Navy as a lieutenant commander. He's not a dumb guy. Didn't have the confidence and didn't know how to negotiate. Pull some stuff together. So I think you negotiate before you strike a deal. The point of job search, by the way, guys, is not to get a job. The point of job search is to get an offer. And ultimately, some of the students I'm working with, and I'll throw one name out there, you guys might know Brenda. Brenda Wilson, everybody knows her. Brenda went through the program a couple semesters ahead of you guys. I told Brenda, I'm like, she was focusing on getting a job, and I'm like, Brenda, get that out of your head. Get an offer. Because Brenda said, I didn't want to apply for this job because it said they had, it looked like it might have too much standing, and I can't stand.
Oh.
Right? And I said to Brenda, I said, apply. And she said, but what if they tell me I have to stand all day and I can't? I said, tell them you can. She goes, isn't that lying? And I'm like, hell no, it's not lying. Because the statement is, I can do it with or without reasonable accommodations. I says, who says you have to stand? Maybe what I'll do is I'll have Daryl go, he'll lean down like this, and you can rest your butt on his back for a little bit. That's what the reasonable accommodation. Daryl becomes reasonable accommodation. Right? Brenda, what if they say you have to run up and down the stairs carrying 1,000 pounds on your back? Can you do it? What's the correct answer?
No.
Who said no? The answer is yes, of course I can do it. With or without reasonable accommodation. The answer is always yes. Because remember, you don't negotiate. Because now all of a sudden they say, hey, guess what? We're going to offer you the job, Alex. This is awesome. You told me you can do 1,000 pounds on the stairs. You told me you can stand for 180 hours straight. And do all this other stuff. So this is awesome, man. You're the guy for the job. You're like, great. What I'd like to do now before I accept this, I'd just like to work out the accommodation strategy I'll need in order to do that. Do you negotiate the accommodation strategy before you get the offer or after?
Before.
No, after you get the offer. You can't negotiate before the offer.
Yeah,
You
but
get the offer and then you negotiate. Let me give you another example. All right, so,
Yeah, but can he pull that back because he think you lied to him and deceived him?
well, no, you can't.
Because I would be mad if you did that to me.
Well,
But don't you have to say,
But it's with or without reasonable
that's what I'm
accommodation.
saying, so you have to say that, yes, with reasonable
Yeah, with a
accommodation.
reasonable accommodation, with the right
That's if you
or,
say it.
because if you use the word accommodation, you might trigger them to say, what's going on? So what you might want to say is, I can do that with all the right tools. Sure, I can do
Okay.
that. Yeah, I can do that. You give me the right tools, I can make that happen.
Okay.
Petita.
The other point about applying is that it's practice.
Yeah, it is practice. But I want to reinforce the negotiating before the offer or after the offer. And maybe you guys may not have heard this story, but let's go back in time 22 years ago, 23 years ago, where Janet and I were just about to go on our first date. Right? We've been married 22 years. 23 years, yikes.
That's on tape, Michael.
I know. Oh my God! Are you taping this? I've been cursing at everything. You need to let me know these things. I love you so much. Oh my God! Oh, it's so bad. So.
We know who gonna get flowers today.
Oh, yeah. All right. So let's say say I want to ask Janet out on our first date, and here's my parameters, right? Because at this point I'm like a young guy in Pittsburgh, first job, barely a couple nickels to rub together to make it work. And so, because remember, I had to move there because my dad wouldn't let me stay at home because he was going to rob me with all the rent. So I wanted to ask her out, but I wasn't going to go anyplace fancy because I didn't have a lot of money. So if I said to Janet, if I negotiated our date before I saw if she was interested, before there was an offer, who would you rather go out with? A guy who says, I'd like to ask you out for Friday night, I'd like to take you to Olive Garden, but I want to make sure you only eat from the unlimited soup and salad bar. I can't take you to a movie because that's going to be afterwards, and I really like it if you don't have a lot to drink. And then I need you to be in the car, and I want to take you home by 10 o'clock because I'm supposed to meet up with some guys
Oh, she ain't going
at the
out
bar
with you.
afterwards, and I want to watch a baseball game with them later on tonight. So would you like to go out this Friday?
No.
Or, right, because again, that's me negotiating the details of a deal before I even know there's an interest. But how about we do this? Would you like to go out on Friday night?
Possibly.
Oh, come on, just give me a break. Would you like to go out on Friday night? Throw me a bone here.
Give me some incentive. No.
Oh, man.
That's awesome. One of the things I was hoping we would do, I love Italian food, and I would really like to take you to an Italian restaurant. It's Olive Garden. Would you mind going with me?
I like Olive Garden.
That's awesome. And maybe I could pick you up around 7. Would 7 work?
That's pretty good.
Awesome. Because in my mind, I'm like, if I pick her up at 7, I'll just get her home at 10. And I can be
Then I can make more than
but you know what I'm doing? I'm negotiating after I get agreement. Like you get the offer, you get somebody to say yes, and then you negotiate. So the whole point that everybody has always taught you about job search is get the job. The correct answer is get the offer. Can you do it? Yes. Can you do it running up the stairs? Yes. Can you do it while carrying 1,000 pounds? Absolutely.
So, and then after you get it, then you
You
try
come to me and say, oh my God, Mike, they're going to give me a job offer. What the hell do I do?
So you think I won't?
And then I'll say, you let this be a negotiation. We can work out the details. They'll say, we'd like to hire you, and here's what it's going to look like.
You have to explain
But
the
doesn't it
difference
look like-
between offer and actually signing.
Yeah,
There's
the
that.
offer is, would you like to go out? Yes. In my brother's case, and this is like, it could not be more real. So the company says, Nick, we're going to make you an offer. They gave him a written offer. Now, Nick could have signed that written offer, sent it back, and had a job. But before he signed the written offer, he goes, sent it to me, and he goes, Mike, can you look at it with me? And we talked about it. We haggled a little bit with the company, and then they made some adjustments. He signed it, and now it's gone. Go ahead.
But to me, they look a little bit deceiving. If you ask, can I carry 5 pounds on my back, and I know I can, and I say, yeah,
But who says you have to carry, because the correct answer is, can you move 5 pounds?
and I know I can't move 5
Well,
pounds.
you can't put it on the cart and pull it on a string.
I'm just saying, okay, let's say 100 pounds, whatever.
I
And
got
I
you.
know, let's say
That's not the point.
Can you do 100 pounds? What if I put it on the cart 20 pounds at a time? Could you move 100 pounds by moving 5 carts to 20?
Okay.
You can do it. And that's a negotiation. And I hate to break the news to you.
Okay,
Do you know how the
I see what you're
business community works? Everything in business is negotiation. Everything in business is negotiation.
I have to
In case
change
you
my
didn't hear it,
phone.
everything in business is negotiation. Nick is like, my brother says to me, Mike, why wouldn't they give me their best offer first? And I'm like, Nick, is this your first day on the planet? Do you not know how any of this works? Like, when you go to a store and you buy something on sale, I mean, you do realize they mark the price up just so they can
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
down. Everything in business is a negotiation. I hate to break the news. If you're trying to get a job in business, there's going to be, if you don't negotiate,
You won't get the
shame,
job.
shame, shame on you. You're going to get the bottom.
Okay.
But luckily, I'm really good at negotiating. And I don't
you can't
mind.
make negotiations without confidence.
Without
It's
what?
Full circle. Confidence. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's like, I was in shipping and receiving, and right now I got 10-pound weight limit, but I can say, yes, I can move 100 pounds if I had, and then the negotiation part comes, but I said if I had a hand truck.
Yeah, I need a hand truck.
Yeah.
Right. So, they have hand trucks now with hydraulics on them, or crank screws, or the straps.
Or forklift.
Okay.
Why not?
I
The
can
hand
take
truck
it
where
now.
you can, do
Yeah.
that.
I'd
I
do
can move
that.
1,000 pounds. You give me a hand jack.
Yeah,
I'll make it happen. Take me all week, I'll be spitting blood, but I can do it.
yeah.
I'm not cheap. you negotiate deals all the time for your music stuff, right? When you quote a price, does anybody ever come back and say that's too much?
Yeah, sometimes.
And what do you do? Yeah.
Either give them a better deal or either tell them, well, I had another person offering me 300, and you're offering, I'm charging you 250, and when that gets to the head, like, okay, you know what?
If I really want this guy for this date, I gotta make this happen. Like Oscar may not be available if I don't do that. Do you really have somebody offering you 300? No. It's called negotiation. Is that wrong? No, it's negotiation. I'm not saying business is unethical. I'm saying that.
With cars and stuff like that. Like if you offer your car for 2,000 and you got a buyer, and you just phone them up and say, well, I got a buyer that's offering you 25. He just called you right now. You let me know what's going to do. I need 27. In reality, you don't really have nobody over there. You just saying what you did, just to get them excited.
And I do this all the times, right? So, and again, you guys. If you've ever negotiated on an apartment or any big ticket item, you know you will haggle. Have you ever been to a flea market? Have you ever been to a garage sale?
Yeah.
If the sticker says $5, do you pay $5? No. Hey, I really like that for $5. I'll give you 3. Well, why the hell would you give me 3? It says 5. Well, you know something, because it's a garage sale. I'll give you. If you don't want it, I'll walk away. I'll take my $3 with me. Say 4, and then we got a deal. That's how it works. That's how jobs work. Now, and I know it doesn't always click because you're like, why would they do it? But that's how it even happens at that level.
You can't do that in an apartment for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything is negotiable.
Everything is negotiable.
You know, and maybe this is also my hard wiring. Janet and I took a little drive yesterday. We passed a house in King of Prussia. That's where we live. It's a really pretty house, and I've always liked this house. It's right on River Road. It's a big house. It was built in the late 1800s. And Janet said, if that house ever comes up for sale, I want to buy that house. And I said, we should knock on the door and make them an offer. And she said, but it's not for sale.
Are you serious?
Everything is for sale. And it is. Like, you know, if we want it, go ahead.
My parents, someone knocked on the door, a realtor, and she said, if you guys want to sell this place, I'll sell it. My mom said, okay.
Everything is for sale all the time. And I'm not trying to, like, what I'm trying to get you guys in the mindset of is when you get out there, it's being confident, it's knowing being sure in what you know, and remember the job is, your job as a job seeker is to say yes to everything. Can you do this? Do you apply for things that are reasonable? Like, I'm not going to apply to be a vascular surgeon. Can you do vascular surgery? Yes, I can, with or without reasonable accommodation. What's your accommodation? I need a vascular surgeon to be there with me. What the hell am I doing? That's not a reasonable accommodation. But if you're applying for a job in customer service and they say, you know, can you work on the, you know, the XR4 system, you know, for customer service? Yeah, I can do that. Have you ever worked?
You want to go home and say XR4? What is the XR4?
You know something? Can you do it?
Might know it.
Yeah, I can do that. My question might be, is that the customer service system that you use? Yeah, it is. It's a Windows-based service system. Yeah, I can do that.
I will have.
You know, ask a question. You don't want to lie, but what you also don't want to do is you don't want to cut it off at the dating stage.
But what if they ask you about the XR something system? You don't know.
Well, you can train.
Then you say,
to
I'll
know
find
that.
out about it.
Yeah.
I'll find out about it. You know, have you ever, do you think you can work on it? Yeah. Have you ever worked on it? No. But I can tell you this, I'm really good at learning new software systems.
There you go.
Let me tell you about when I had to learn Microsoft Excel for the first time, never having touched that spreadsheet before. I picked it up in like 8 times. 8 times I had it. I was a master of Excel. What do you want from me? That's how good I am.
Isn't it mandatory though when you're doing some jobs that do training?
I mean, I think a good company is going to want to train people to be productive. Absolutely. Yeah, training is a part of it.
So the best question is if they ask, have you ever worked with Excel? No, I haven't, but I can learn. Or is that a good answer?
Yeah, I haven't worked on Excel, but I've worked on other Office products. I've worked on Word and Outlook and PowerPoint. And I'm familiar with Excel, and I'm confident that I can learn to master it.
Okay.
Sure, I can do Excel. Again, the confidence. It's not lying. What it's doing is it's allowing the conversation to go to the next level of date.
Date, right.
Okay? Because remember, the whole point of me asking Janet out on a date was not for her to say, no, I don't want to go to the Olive Garden because you're only going to treat me to unlimited soup and salad bar and a bowl of pasta, no meatballs. You know, that wasn't the deal. You know, but once I did that, I was able to take it to the next level and work my magic. Got all my moves. I'm just kidding. I have so few moves. But you get the point, right? All right.
Yes.
This is a good discussion. Any other? And again,
Good class.
Have you ever heard any of this stuff before? Or am I the only crazy person that's told you this stuff?
No,
You've heard it?
no.
Anybody else?
You know what, the things that you were saying, you kind of know that this it's like that, but you never really heard nobody actually say it. Tell them yes. Tell them.
Yeah, can you
Bring
do
it out.
Yeah, and again, in your mind, because some people have, you know, they're looking for full-time, but you can only do part-time. Or they're doing for full-time, but you might have to have a few days off because you have some medical treatment twice a week. You might have to come in late 2 mornings a week.
So we should still say.
Yeah, so what's
Can you do full-time? You're like, I might phrase that, I can absolutely do 40 hours. Absolutely do 40 hours.
but what if you can't do 40 hours?
Well, who says my 40 hours have to be 9 to 5, Monday through Friday? Maybe on Wednesday and Friday, it's 10 till 7. I can do 40 hours. It may not look like what you think 40 hours looks like. I can sure as hell do 40 hours.
As long as it get done that week.
I like that.
That's 40 hours.
And now that still may eliminate you in the negotiation, but the trick in job search
Is
is
to get
don't
the offer.
don't shoot your own self in the foot. Don't you eliminate yourself.
So basically, don't go in there saying no, 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 no.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't do this and I can't do that.
Yeah.
And no, I can't do that.
I'm not going to let you have a drink. I'm not going to let you have a meatball. I'm only going to let you have salad. You're going to be home by 10, and we're not going to a movie. No, 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 no. I don't want to go out with me.
No.
No.
Oh, right.
Welcome to your job search.
Well said.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, the first movie I took Janet to. You ever see the movie? And this was like a really bad movie. It was Mississippi Burning. That was
Yeah.
not a good movie. Oh my God. And I love Gene Hackman. Always have. Not
made
a
you
very
go there?
romantic movie. I'm like,
That's
hey.
probably the cheapest one now.
She's like, what the hell are you doing? Well, she's sobbing half the time, and I'm like, oh man, this was not very well thought out. The other thing we did is because we used to hang around a whole group of people, and this was actually the very first time I asked her out. I called her up, worked up all my nerve, and I'm like, hey, do you want to go ice skating? Because I thought that would be a fun first date, right? An ice skating date. She said to me, yeah, who's coming? And I'm like, oh, everybody. And I'm like, holy crap. I was asking her out, and she said, who's coming? And I said, everybody. I got off the phone with her. This is God's honest truth story. I had to call like 15 people up to say, you're going ice skating in like 2 hours. Because I had to now show up with a group of people to go ice skating, so I don't look like an idiot. That's very true. You know why that happened? I'm a good salesman. All right. Alex, you got your book, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, perfect phrases for customer service. What I'm going to have you do is I want you to read that book, be prepared to start talking about it. By the end of class, you're going to present a 20-minute PowerPoint presentation on that book. Okay? You're also going to go onto the website, experttraining.com, and take the TQM certificate. Chris Heisen will hook you up with an American Express card to make that happen.
Okay.
All right? So we can actually get you that certification. That will look good. I don't think it's going to be a hard test, but it'll be one of those things that on your resume, if you say, I'm trained in total quality management in addition to everything else, how much better does that make you? You name and yeah, it's name dropping. Cheryl.
Can I interrupt 1 second?
Go ahead.
Guys, I put notes on there, so whatever Michael's telling you, you can write, that's what that was
Well,
for.
we didn't get our book over here.
Oh, I just only handed out one.
Oh, okay.
Just take a break.
I'm sorry. I'm moving too fast.
Okay. Cheryl. You can do it, Cheryl. You want to be an administrative assistant?
Preferably organizer. I like organizing.
You like organizing?
But it still goes along with that.
So a couple of you guys are going to be reading this book. Have you ever shopped at Nordstrom? Have you ever heard of Nordstrom's?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Nordstrom's, there's a guy in the 1980s and 90s, Tom Peters, who's a big motivational leader, Tom Peters. He wrote a book called the Nordstrom, well, it was the Nordstrom way back then, too. But he tells a story about Nordstrom. Nordstrom's salespeople work on 100% commission, which I think is awesome.
You think it's awesome?
Yeah, you know why? They know their products. When you walk into a Nordstrom's, you're looking at people who just know their stuff, and they're going to solve your problem. 90% of Nordstrom's business comes from repeat customers, so they're not trying to get you to buy a $300 pair of shoes because they're going to try to talk you into that. That's not how they make their living. They want you to buy a pair of shoes now and come back every 6 months and buy a pair of shoes. So they know that relationships are the key to what make them successful people. Nordstrom's is an amazing story. And they also have a commitment, a service commitment, that somebody wanted something. Somebody needed a suit from Nordstrom. This is the Tom Peters thing, way back when. And they needed a suit. The Nordstroms couldn't get it there. They actually rented a helicopter The salesman at Nordstrom was so committed to satisfying his client that he had a helicopter transport the suit to this guy's meeting. So he can, then they got a local courier to bring it to him, so the guy can get the suit that day at an out-of-town meeting. It's insane customer service. Insane customer service. You're going to learn about insane customer service.
Wait a minute, I have worked in Gordon Taylor's, I worked in Strawbridge's, Hex. I sold lingerie, stockings, hosieries, and things like that, so sales is not foreign to me.
Well, and Cheryl, I'm going to say this, I'm glad that sales isn't foreign to you. But thus far in this conversation, and only because we've been having this conversation out loud in front of everybody else, you have not been exhibiting what I would call sales-like conversational skills. What do you want to be again? An organizer? You want to help people adapt and change their way of being to make it more efficient?
I'm not in a professional setting.
You are in a professional setting.
I'm in class, leave me alone, Mike.
Cheryl, I need you to read this book now twice.
Oh, man.
He did twice.
How long we have to, how many days we have to do this book?
Class.
What's the date? When it ends?
It's got to be done by the end of class. So this class ends, these guys have the dates.
Oh, in a semester or whatever.
Maybe the end of this
526.
Not this.
semester,
This.
not the end of today.
Not the end of
Yeah,
today.
yeah, when you say
May-
class,
May-
what time?
522.
Okay.
Got a month by 522.
Okay.
Cheryl, I also need you to find 40 videos, it's written on here, related to excellent administrative activities and add them to a YouTube channel. I need you to find out 40 videos and add them to YouTube. You can get them to Emily, and Emily can add them to our YouTube channel.
Or Arthur.
Say?
Or Arthur.
Oh, or Daryl can, perfect.
We cannot do that ourselves.
Yeah, but you can find the videos, send links to
Daryl?
Daryl.
Yeah, just one, there's just one admin on that, so
Okay,
only one
smart.
person can sign it.
Claude. Claude wants to work in help desk, right? So one of the things we're going to do for Claude is you're going to take the Strata test from CompTIA. Well, I felt that before you took the Strata test, Claude, you might want to learn a little bit about Strata. So I got you a book on Strata, along with the study CD. You study this book, you go through this, you do all the CD material, we'll pay for you to take the Strata test from CompTIA.
Whoa.
All right? So
We
that's
have to
good.
get these books back?
Nope, they're yours.
Okay, thank you.
You can share
I
it.
can't wait to see what book I'm going to read.
So we work together.
Yeah, some of you were in the same book.
I have no problem with sharing down.
Okay.
Cornelius, you want to be a gaming officer, right?
Commercial retail.
So one of the things we want to do for you is I want you to become a notary. So there's a link on here, a hell of a big link, where you'll become a notary public so you can actually sign and certify things, which will be important for taking statements and so forth. So we'll pay for you to become a notary in Pennsylvania. And I also got you a book, if I can find it.
HVAC.
Casino security and gaming surveillance, okay? So you want to work in the casinos, you wanted to be somebody who worked in surveillance, taking some of that prior kind of enforcement skill that you had, and you want to apply it into this area. So I want you to become a notary and I want you to go do that book. Imagine when you're on an interview with Sugar House and you start dropping some of the ideas that you read in here. You know, it's so interesting. I've always wanted to do this job as part of my training, and as I just read in blank, blank, and blank, I recognize these are some of the current trends that are happening in Pennsylvania. And I'll also hook you up to some websites that you can see what casino security changes are already happening in Pennsylvania. But you need to become well versed in that stuff. Because you got guys like me. I went to Valley Forge Casino the other weekend. By the way, hit on roulette for $560. And then I tried to grab all the chips on the table and run out. But
That wouldn't have been a good idea.
no, I don't think so. Daryl Sawyer. Commercial retail, right?
Yeah.
Now, what exactly is it that you want to do again?
I kind of really would change it, but I just start there, customer service,
But when I put the word commercial
for
retail,
commercial, industrial. that you suggested, like, Home Depot,
Lowe's,
Lowe's,
modern equipment,
yeah.
places like that. You know, I need to come in and rent a compressor. I'm not going to necessarily go to you for lingerie, Lord
Yeah.
Taylor. Maybe I would, I don't know. But my sense would be you'd be the guy I'd be talking to because of your shipping and receiving background or commercial environment.
Yeah.
So I want you to read Customer Service Training 101. I want you to also find 40 videos about retail sales skills, becoming a good salesperson, and get those to Daryl as well so we can add them to our YouTube.
Yep.
And I want you to prepare a 10-minute PowerPoint video on that book.
This is all going to be done on the last day, and you will be coming to
The
see
last
their,
2 days, I'll
last
be here.
and you'll be coming. Okay. So Michael will see your presentations.
20th and 27th.
Deborah,
Yes.
I need you, because you want to be a dietetic technician, we're going to get you ServSafe certified, which is a tongue twister. You know what ServSafe is? That's a food handling safety requirement.
Okay.
So people that interact with food have to be ServSafe certified.
Right.
So we're going to get you ServSafe certified.
Okay.
About temperatures, cleanliness, all kinds of understanding. If you go into any kind of a commercial environment or food prep environment, you'll need that certification.
Okay.
So we'd like to get you that certification. And there's a
Okay.
link to do that. And so you'll go through that link. You'll interact with Colleen and Chris. They'll pay for it on American Express. Online training, you'll take the course. And then I got you a book called the Clinical Dietitian's Essential Pocket Guide.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd also like you to link to Phil Abundance. It's on your thing.
Yeah.
All right. So Phil Abundance has a lot of volunteer and internship opportunities.
Okay.
So once you go through that book, once you get your ServSafe certification, if you start interning at Phil Abundance, I think that'll go a long way to establishing your bona fides for that.
Okay, now, there is one problem with me. I have to go out at the end of the month. I have to have knee surgery. I have to have a knee replacement.
No, I say put it off. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I can't.
She's like, oh my God.
I tried to put it off, but the doctor wouldn't let me.
Okay. That's not a problem.
So
Yeah.
y'all not gonna kick me out of school, right?
No. Does Janet know?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. I'll let Janet know. We're not going to kick you out.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you know, Marie just had her knees done.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's coming back too, so don't worry about it. This happens from time to time.
No, just one.
But again, a better negotiating way to have said that to me is, I can't wait to finish this. In fact, after I come back from my knee surgery, I'll be able to finish this up.
Well,
So
that's
you-
what I meant.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Because you started with, you're not going to kick me out with the presumption that I would. Yeah. You basically said you don't want to go out with me on Friday night, do you? Oh my goodness, so much
Mike.
blood. So
It's
much
a little bit off key, but we got 3 books to read in 1 month.
Some about reading too. Some
Oh,
reading class.
close.
Huh? No, I'm just saying, you ain't gonna
Oh,
get
you're not gonna finish that Strata book, Claude, and let me,
No.
some of you guys are gonna finish the books. That Strata book is gonna be from now until the rest of your training at the academy.
Oh, okay.
So you're not gonna, you'll need to finish that book, because that book should be completable by the end of the semester. You're gonna be preparing for Strata up until the day you finish your classes and we give you the Strata test. We'll send you to a CompTIA certification program to do that. Cornelius,
I wanted to highlight words and phrases in this book, I could.
it's yours. Everything I'm giving you guys is yours.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No. Part of the price. Part of the price of admissions. That's a great question, Claude. Derek.
Yes.
Animal care. Your first job is you're gonna come over and you're gonna housebreak my puppy, man. You're having a horrible time with little Zoe. Yeah, that's good. What we're gonna do with you, Derek, is I'm gonna have you take the ServSafe certification also. And the reason is you're gonna be doing food prep and cleanliness prep. And I think that's going to be something that can be important for you. And we also got you that book called, wait, did I give him the right book there? Yeah, Customer Service Games?
Yeah.
I got you a book that I think is going to be fun. And we're actually going to use that book a little in class. It's Customer Service Games, where you're going to kind of lead in some role modeling and some group projects on customer service. And in all honesty, I know you're busting your hump here, but I want to get you a book that I think you can digest and make sense to you. That's why I got you that one. I also want you to find 20 videos and email them to Daryl. on YouTube talking about videos that help you deal with stressful situations.
Okay.
Because the other thing about work is you're going to be interacting with people, and what do people do? Piss you off. They do indeed, right? So dealing with that is a really big thing to do. How do you de-escalate tense situations?
Take control of this situation.
You gotta take control of it, but there are a lot of different strategies. I'm not gonna say there's one strategy.
Yes, it is.
Taking control.
Yeah, they're pretty good at covering.
Yeah, you know what I do when I have a stressful situation? I say, Colleen, can you call him back for me? Because I'm horrible.
He does.
I do. I saw Erin Yacker in and out. She's not in, is
She's
she?
upstairs.
She's upstairs, okay.
In the Wade building.
We'll get back to Erin. Jenny.
Yes.
There you are, sorry. You are going to do customer service career success. Let me find it.
Now this
TQM?
TQM certificate,
This is also French.
I would look for it in whatever course that I see at this website that I think will help, or
Yes,
really?
yes. You'll do the same thing. You'll go to Chris. He'll hook you up with the payment method so you can take the course and get the certification.
And I pick the one I want.
No, you'll do the TQM
Where, yeah, I can't find the TQM.
certificate.
See, where's the TQM?
Oh, no, you're on the wrong site. Expert training. I'll find the site for you. I'll get you the one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't see the TQM.
It's okay. I'll get you the site.
Okay.
That's not the right side.
That's not the right site.
I can Google it.
And you'll need to read that book, get the certificate, and prepare a 10-minute presentation. Karen,
Yes.
medical equipment or medical documentation, right? Okay, yours is real straightforward. We'll pay for you to get your AED CPR certification through the Red Cross. Do you have that now? I don't think so. So, if you want to work in a medical field, excuse me, we thought it would be helpful if you had basic medical safety credentials, AED CPR. So you can hook up with Colleen, find the website through a Red Cross, and whatever that training, like you'll have to find a program that works for you. But if you find that, go through the training program, we'll pay for that course for you. So at the end of it, you'll be AED CPR certified, which I think will be an advantage if you want to work in a medical setting.
Right.
We also want you to take this online HIPAA certification. So HIPAA is the Healthcare Portability Insurance Act.
Right.
It talks about client and patient privacy. But I think if you were, along with your other courses, able to go into an environment and basically say, I have a current Red Cross AED certification and I've just completed coursework in HIPAA safety requirements in addition to all my coursework in basic computing and customer service interactions. At that point, you're like, well, why the hell would we not want to have you in this kind of medical records thing? But I think the HIPAA and CPR stuff can actually be helpful add-ins for you. And so we want to make sure that you have those. The guys are seeing now that we look at this course as something that kind of fills in the blanks a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Linda?
Linda is sick.
Linda is sick. What's Linda's book?
The Nordstrom book.
The Nordstrom Way. I'll leave the book and then you guys can make sure you assign it to her.
Right.
Michael,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't need a book.
No, because you're not going to have a lot to read. You're going to be taking courses. And I can tell you the CPR courses will be either happening evenings or weekends for you.
Okay.
So your time commitment is going to be doing some of that stuff off-site.
Okay.
Is that at the Red Cross?
It is.
Because I used to, I'm
Are you?
That's fine.
but I need to
Read up it?
Yeah.
So if you want to read a book,
Get out of it.
Maria, you want to be an administrative assistant?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to hook you up with an account to lynda.com. Have you used Lynda yet? Lynda is an online training program. Tita, Can you talk about Linda a little bit?
I love Linda. I spend 4 hours every night on Linda.
Well, that's
That's not telling us who's Linda.
No, they have actual exercises that you go through every topic of conversation that you can imagine on Linda. And even though you get like the basics here, going through that, it just like raises your game, you know.
Wait a minute,
It's
I'm
wonderful.
missing this
Linda, lynda.com, Lynda, is something that we can sign up for some of you guys to have subscriptions to. It's online video tutorials on what I'll call high-tech software training. So for you, it's going to be QuickBooks. We want you to have more of a background in basic bookkeeping. So for you, we felt that that would be something that if you were in an interview and you were able to say, I could do checkbook reconciliation. I know how to post receivables or post payables, essentially post invoices or account for checks. I know how to reconcile an accounting system. In addition to whatever other administrative service skills you have, we thought that would be in addition, like that would be something that would differentiate you. One of the things, guys, I think you can see that I'm trying to do, and when Colleen and Chris and I sat down, we were trying to come up with something that would allow each of you to have a unique conversation. So it's not just saying I've learned how to use Outlook or Excel. Those are great things. It's I've learned how to use Outlook in Excel, and I've also learned how to reconcile a checkbook, which I think is going to be a valuable experience as I work in your company because of the kind of company you are, blah, 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 blah. It gives you just that little extra insight to do it. You know, the whole point of interviewing is how to differentiate yourself, and you differentiate yourself in skills. So we want you to have that skill in QuickBooks. Chris Hyson also we have a full version of QuickBooks here that we'll give you access to so you can kind of play along while you're doing the tutorial. Now, we're not going to try to turn you into an accountant. I'm not going to turn you into a tax preparer, but I do want to turn you into somebody who knows how to reconcile, essentially account for all the transactions, and put in new costs and new checks. Okay? I'm also going to want you to go through the TQM certificate program. And we have the book Nordstrom's Way for you. And your presentation will be about what is total quality management. So we're giving you a lot. I don't know why. Maybe I was mad at you when I did this. I doubt it. No, that's not true.
Okay, my presentation will be on customer service.
Yes.
Wait a minute, what did you say, what is
I think I found a website for TQM certification.
Okay, well let me hold on to that and I'll check it in a little bit. Go ahead, what's your question?
You were saying it's going to be, the presentation is going to be on what?
TQM, Total Quality Management. So you'll go through the certification, but you're going to talk about what is total quality management.
I don't understand this one.
Petita.
Yeah.
Petita and I spoke the other day, so he has a little bit more of a heads up on some of this stuff. I'm giving Petita a book on, it's called Biz Plan Builder, because of the job he wants to do is kind of an art broker, which is a little bit different, but again, different works for us here, right? So Petita is going to work on creating a business plan. So that's a book on how to create one. It also has a CD that'll take you through the process. And then one of the things we're going to want to do is make that trifold and the things you and I talked about the other day. Priscilla,
Yes.
we talked about a retail position for you, right?
Customer service.
Customer service?
Yeah, one of the instructors said that they was going to correct that and let you know, but I guess they never did.
Well, you know something, we need to, would you do me a favor and send Janet and Emily an email to update that in the system?
Okay, I'll do it right now.
You can?
Okay. So will you want to get back with me or?
No.
Okay.
The difference between customer service and retail is very, very minor in my mind, at least from a preparation standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Retail is what I would call direct to consumer. Customer service is sometimes business to business.
If I wanted to work at Amtrak, would that be customer service or retail?
Depends. Like you take something like somebody's working customer service Amtrak for reservations.
Yeah.
That's I think that's retail because you're selling
Retail?
tickets.
Okay.
But there's a customer service function because let's say now I call in, so I called to make a reservation. You're assisting me in a retail transaction.
Right.
But now let's say I call in because I'm in Boston and I need to change my return train home, and I need you to, either change the train or I need a new ticket. You're now helping me in a customer service interaction.
Okay.
I think the difference between customer service and retail can sometimes be very thin. So I'm not worried about changing your plan. But I do want to get it right for when we create the resume.
Okay, okay.
So you don't want her to have that book, or you do?
I do.
Yeah, because it says it's about the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you're going to get the book Nordstrom Way.
Uh-huh.
You're going to do the TQM, Total Quality Management Certificate.
Total quality, I don't see
The requirements, the presentation, it's the last.
I only got two. I only got this. That's all I got.
Rhonda,
Yes. Presentation on
you're also going to go through QuickBooks. Okay.
Where's the TQM
And you're going to go through the tutorial, so you guys are going to kind of partner together on some of this. And we did try to have enough overlap, so some of you guys are partnering. All right? And then, I'll be your partner. How do you like that?
I don't understand what you want here.
Thank you.
Here's your book. I thought this one was pretty awesome. This one is Customer Service is Worthless. Which is, it's not really worthless, but it's standing it on its head. Understanding customers differently. So that's your book.
Can I ask what this one?
Why did you got to
I went through them all. I mean, I read all the bios on this stuff. And part of what I did when I made the selections is I went through all my notes from when I evaluated everybody, and then I went through the write-ups on the book, and I tried to gear it as best I could. But again, I'm also of the mindset, there's no bad learning. Yeah, there's no bad learning.
Michael, Aaron's here, and I think she might need to get back right back.
Okay, Aaron, so we're gonna give you some stuff real fast. Aaron, you're going to be part of the QuickBooks team, right? So some of these guys you're going to connect to, and we'll do this through Daryl and Colleen later. You're going to be taking some QuickBooks training.
That has to do with math?
It has to do with accounting or bookkeeping, which is different than math. It's more organization than math, believe it or not.
Okay.
We're going to get you a certificate in total quality management. Don't go away. You're going to read this book, Perfect Phrases, if I can find one. Is it Perfect Phrases?
Yep. Perfect phrases for customer service.
Aaron, I may not have your book here. I apologize. So, don't worry, we'll get it to you. But here's the other thing, Aaron, you're going to need to do. You're going to need to train 3 people on what you do for TOT and create a video transcript so other people can watch the video and learn how to do it.
Will you provide the video camera?
Yes, I will. All right?
Okay.
All right, now get out of here. Go do your thing.
All right.
Karen,
Huh?
where are you? We already worked, right? We already did it. Oh yeah, I'm going back.
I'm gonna train people
What?
to do the
What you have to do
TOT.
is train 3 cots.
I know, our acronyms are
Potty
not the
training,
best.
that'd be difficult.
He expected us.
Tom, I'm giving you the TQM, and I'm giving you the world's shortest book.
Thank you. I can't read that one. I mean, I can read, but I can't.
Oh, he's good.
What's the TQM?
TQM is that total quality management.
But you
You
want
wanna
to
work-
right link on that, right? Because when it comes up,
We'll send the link out to all of you guys, and I'll copy Chris in, so he'll sit down with the American Express and make it happen. All right, don't sweat that.
okay.
Zig Ziglar, have you ever heard of this guy?
Yeah, I remember.
Zig Ziglar is a really good motivational speaker. So this book, while it's short, has some really good power, like object lessons. And because you want to work as a counter clerk, you want to be the guy behind the counter when I'm coming in saying, you know what, I need to rent the scissor lift for my, for what I'm trying to do. So I want to put new gutters on, the building or whatever.
Right.
You need to be able to kind of walk with me and be able to explain the difference in a way that gets me to buy the insurance, gets me to buy the other materials, just does some of that other stuff. You need, I think, that kind of skill set. I don't think you're going to have a problem interacting with people, but I want to give you more of a marketing persona. The book is short, but I got to tell you, Zig Ziglar is an awesome
Is that other
trainer.
customer service, counter clerk? 'Cause that was given to me, actually. That was said on the,
Oh.
on my reviews after like the teachers whether took the class would make a good counter clerk. But I don't mind doing that.
Well, is it not what you want to do?
I was sure, I'm not sure exactly. I think there's customer service and
Well, think about
other
this.
things, but I'm not sure what the deal. There's so much stuff that we need to be researched. and
Well,
different-
let's pull back the counter clerk to say this. You're at the, you want to work full-time or part-time, remind me?
Basically, part-time.
All right, part-time counter clerk. First thing that comes to mind is, let's say we're talking about the Philadelphia airport. You're going to be working behind the Hertz counter at the Philadelphia airport. Okay?
I need to know everything there is about policy.
Yep. I'm coming in off the plane and I need to rent a car for 3 days here in Philadelphia. I'm going to come up to see you, and I have a reservation. You're going to get my license, my credit card. You're going to run to make sure that I haven't got any DUIs in the past month.
Right.
And you're going to go through. I have to sign here, initial here. You're going to take me around the tour of the car. I'm going to make sure there are no egregious dings and dents in it. Get me to sign off. You're going to document all that stuff. But you're also going to try to get me to buy the pre-gas package. Pay for the full tank now, or you come back and it's $8 a gallon. That's when I think of counter clerk in a part-time position. That's the job that comes to my mind immediately.
Right.
Because they're 24-hour jobs. They're an abundant amount of jobs. In every hotel, the train station, the airport, a lot of major transit hubs have those types of jobs. So that's a really good part-time customer service counter type job.
What if I was a counter
What is
person
it called
at a
again?
dentist place so I could talk to them and give me some teaching?
Then you and I need to talk, because they actually, are you aware that some of the colleges and universities do free restorative dental work?
I was under the impression that all they did was pull them out.
Yeah, they do restorative dental, and also, we can also have the conversation with OVR now, because you're gonna have a customer-facing job. If you need restorative dental work, Colleen, can you make a note that I need to follow up with Dave on Tom? Well, I'm gonna find out about that for you.
Okay, we spoke about that at the beginning.
We did, but I never look at that until the end. You know why?
They took out the eyes.
But I do some of the dental stuff near the end of the program, because not everybody, as you're well aware, not everybody makes it through.
Right.
Part of it is I'm a salesman too, man. I gotta hedge my bets. But you made it this far, so we're gonna talk about restorative dental. Cool. All right, who do we have left?
I think that Thomas was the last.
Rowena got hers?
No, I think there's one more person, right?
Who has not been addressed?
Rowena.
Two.
Diane.
Diane, yeah. I thought.
Where's Rowena? Right there.
No.
Wait.
We didn't give something to Diane, did we?
Shoot, I don't
got it.
have her on
It's
here.
okay. I got a plan.
Yeah, but I copied what you sent me. I don't know what happened.
Rowena, you like reading, right? That's why I'm giving you a nice thick book.
I don't like it.
You'll be here.
Rowena, you're also going to take the TQM course, Total Quality Management. You'll be part of that group. And you'll need to read that book and do a PowerPoint presentation on TQM. In fact, some of you guys that are doing TQM, you might want to partner together for your presentation.
That's what I have to do. The 10-minute presentation is on TQM.
Linda. Diane. Diane, you're going to read this book, The Nordstrom Way, and you're going to be part of the QuickBooks team. Because Diana, part of why we kept this flexible is because before we did this, you weren't working with Michael yet, but you're going to be working, now that I know you're working with Michael, we're going to have you do the QuickBooks training so you get some better bookkeeping and accounting prep. Okay?
That'd be awesome.
Good.
Even though I know they do the peach tree.
I just wanted you to get an idea of reconciliation on, entry. It's, something we need to check out on Linda. Darryl, can, make a note that we check out to see if Linda has Peachtree. They're one of the few people that do that. You're not in this class. You're an assistant. That's why you're so helpful. I can see. All right. Anybody have any questions? Okay, good. Let's get some clarification. I'm exhausted.
My 10-minute presentation. Is it going to be on the book or on TQM?
On TQM, Total Quality Management, but do you want me to give you an idea of what Total Quality Management is about?
I've been reading all about it.
All right, good. Total Quality Management is a process of continuous improvement that says things that get measured get improved. Do you ever wonder why we give you guys grades all the time? Why we document stuff? What? No. Well, we do have to, but pause point, progress report. Things that get measured get done. You know what I haven't been doing for the last 2 years of my life when I get up in the morning? I have not been standing on the scale. So guess how much weight I lost?
None.
In the past couple weeks, every morning I get up, guess the first thing I do? I get my big lard ass on that scale, and I start to look at it, and the number goes up, and I'm like, holy cow. I thought sometimes the LEDs were just going to break and start screaming. But I know if I want to start losing weight, and I have actually in the past couple of weeks, feel like I'm not going to pretend like I'm slim, but I'm going in the right direction. TQM, total quality management. What gets measured gets done. If you measure something, you can influence it. Total quality management is the art of finding the right things to measure. I told you before, in our company, on my side of the practice, when I'm not here and I'm doing consulting, one of the things I measure is billable hours. I look at myself and all the other people on my team. How many billable hours do we have on a daily basis, a weekly basis? You know why that's important? Money. I measure that. How many hours, one of the other measures of TQM that we look at here is attendance. You know why they harp on attendance so much? You can't learn if you're not here. We strive for perfect attendance and as many people as we can. And we reward it. Have perfect attendance, we're going to take you out to a nice lunch. Do you know what I mean? And beyond that, you'll have the ability to say to a potential employer, I have a track record of having perfect attendance. We'll be able to say to the employer, because you want to know the first question everybody asks us who interacts with Janet or Emily for mock interviews, how's their attendance? People that have really spotty attendance, businesses, I know this is a shock, don't fall in love with that person.
It's not a shock.
Yeah, it's not, right? You know what businesses love? Consistency, predictability. Life has enough risks. Man, things go wrong every day. I had a whole plan for this weekend, as you can hear. But I think I'm in the process of losing my voice. I wasn't feeling my tip-top this weekend. So I had a plan, but life gets in the way. You know what you try to do? You try to minimize upset. Total quality management lets you focus on what needs to be focused on. Attendance, billing, productivity.
Dependability.
Say yeah?
Dependability.
Dependability. That's what TQM is in a nutshell. So your presentation on total quality management might be, it's not just about what is TQM, but it's how does it relate to the field of customer service? How does it relate to the field of administrative assistant? An admin assistant is different from somebody who does customer service. Now, I'm not going to pretend that jobs don't bleed into one another. Claude wants to do help desk. Well, there are going to be times where he's going to be doing admin, documenting all the stuff. There are going to be times where he's doing customer service, just helping somebody do what they already should know how to do. And then there are going to be times when he's doing more of the high-tech kind of computer repairs and computer fixes. Jobs they'll bleed into one another. But when you're writing your presentation on TQM, I want you to focus on your focus. How does it relate to what do you want to do? What are the things that are going to be important for you to measure? Sometimes they'll do client satisfaction reports. You get those things in the mail all the time, or after you're out to eat and they give you something. Go onto this website and let them know if I did a good job. Why? Because it matters. People want feedback. People like to know they're doing a good job. Sarah, one of our co-workers from Boston, was just down, and I love Sarah. She's awesome. But she's a nervous Nelly, man. She'll write a report, and I know Sarah's smart. And she'll fret because the person hasn't called her back the day after she sends it and says, this was a brilliant report. For as mature, sophisticated, and educated Sarah is, she still needs somebody to pin her reports to the refrigerator. Because she needs feedback. But you know something, at the end of the day, we all need feedback. Who doesn't like hearing, attaboy, good job, you nailed it. That's TQM. What are you measuring? That what gets measured gets done. That's a good question. Other questions, clarification?
That water is
Mine here says complete certificate program. That means I have to go to a program and complete it.
Your certificate program is TQM. You're going to do one of the total quality management courses. And the reason no, that's in addition to the book. There's a website link we'll give you, and Chris will pay for it. You'll have to take a course online. It'll review some material. You'll take a test. When you pass the test, you'll actually be able to say,
I do that in my time here.
Yeah, we're going to use some of the class time. Do you want to explain, Colleen, how we envision this working, or you want me to do that? I'll do it.
I'll let you do it.
Very good. Can I have the agenda of when the classes are? Good deal.
I have a computer at home and I don't want it.
So today is the
22nd.
22nd. So what's going to start to happen on the 24th and 29th, you guys are going to come into class, and we're going to do a little, we'll do like a little, what's called a primer. Like we might have a scenario set up. So you know how like today, I started with a little bit about being purposeful and negotiating and having some of those conversations about saying yes and so forth.
Be confident, yes.
Colleen and Daryl will have some videos that we're going to be assembling for you guys to watch, so we'll be talking about them together. So we'll have some what I'll call training tools that will keep us focused on what I think are the right things for you to be successful. And that might only last for about a half hour or 40 minutes. The rest of the time, you guys are going to spend reading your books, preparing your PowerPoints, huddling up in groups, doing your lynda.coms, playing with QuickBooks, doing whatever it is you need to do. This class is set up more like what I would call a true college course than a traditional academy course. You're far enough in, you know what you need to do. I'm not going to make anybody do anything because I just don't care that much. No, it's not true. Because I don't control you. I can't make any of you guys do anything. But the path has been set, you know the expectation, you know this is not about what I need to do, it's about what you need to do. This is where what I want you to do is now start digging in. You know, click your heels in the dirt and push off. If you run into problems, those problems are things you'll bring up. I'll either be here or be available by phone. These guys are going to be here. Chris is going to be here. If you run into problems, you can call any on any of us and we'll fill in the blanks. Go ahead.
So do all of us need to do a PowerPoint?
You know, one of the things we're going to do is once we start, we needed a couple days to kind of do this. I'm not going to lie, this is like the first time we've really run the class kind of this way because we're continuing to bend what this class does. I'm always trying to make this class more relevant to get you to your end goal. So what I might do is say, well, rather than have 5 presentations on TQM for 10 minutes each, what we might do is a 30-minute presentation on TQM and you're all a part of it, where you all create one presentation together. You know, so rather than do something on, because a couple of you guys are in the Nordstrom books, we might say, we're going to do an hour presentation for 3 of you. And you'll have a 20-minute slot each, but wrapped up within an hour. That might be a better thing. Because the other thing, too, it also might get us to do is work in small teams, which is, I think, another really important work.
That is.
Can I find out how to get that and get it online? I want that other book too.
Which one?
Customer Services Workers.
Okay. Yeah, can you make a note? Oh, here, I took your thing. I'll give it back to you in 1 second. So we'll get another copy of that.
I like that. Reading is not, I like it.
But, I'm sorry, I got you another one too. This is another version of it, but it also has a learning CD. So what'll happen is for the next couple classes, we're going to work that way. We'll have what we'll call a small vignette, kind of a group presentation of project. The same way we had a lot of dialogue, and I'm not done with the dialogue. I want the rest of this class to be some discussion about how to negotiate, how to do some of these things. I like it when we talk like this. But your other classes will be a little bit of that and then focus work on your own. The last 2 classes in the semester, the last 2 classes we're going to reserve for the presentations. I think we're going to need 2 classes to go over everybody's.
I agree.
All right, and that's it. And that's the class.
They'll have prep time before if they're doing the team thing, or
Yeah.
they can do it leading up to.
The only person that won't have a presentation at the end will be Claude, because he's doing, I don't expect him to be done with all that work by the end of this class. All right? Are you all right with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right. Claude, I need you to have Strata done in the next 3 weeks.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
You don't have a book? Oh, you're doing Red Cross.
Huh?
You don't need a book.
Yeah,
You're doing Red Cross and Hippo.
I know that, but I'm saying you said that everybody has to do a president. Do I have to do one? Because you didn't tell me.
Well,
You
the folks that
probably have
got a
to save
presentation-
somebody's life at the end.
Yeah. You know what I'll do? On your last day of class, I'm going to have like 5 pounds of French fries. I'll fall on the floor and you just pull the AED out and get me back, all right?
He'll be your dummy.
I'm getting the certification again too.
Good.
Foster Beer.
No, not everybody's going to need to do a presentation, but you're probably going to be on the panel for measuring some of this stuff.
Okay.
Are we taking a break?
Yes.
Let's take a break. Let's meet back here in 15 minutes and I'll go over the rest of class.
Can I get 5 minutes with you?
Yes.
You want to put that on?
Yeah, could you do me a favor?
What's the name of the kid?